once again, this is Mr. Arthur Brown Legacy Building, episode 6. I have an incredible guest. You guys might have known him. He played in the NFL for 10 years. He's actually a Demerite. He went to high school, 3 letterman sport, I believe, of basketball, track, football. And I'm going to ask him later, you know how if you competed in a certain sport and you excelled at it, usually that wasn't your best sport. So we're going to actually ask Jason here in a moment what his best sport is. Played in the NFL, like I said, for 10 years. But most importantly, this guy, not only was he an athlete, but he has had to recreate himself after he finished his career. So with that being said, Mr. Jason Kraft, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, man. I know you're a busy guy, man.
Yes.
But I want the guests to kind of know a little bit about you, man, because like I said, it's hard to say you're meeting somebody who's truly been here pretty much the rest of or the majority of their life. And I want to kind of go back because you have an incredible story. A lot of people know my story, but after I read up on your story, it gave me chills, brother. And I mean in a positive way, not a bad way. So let's kind of start off. You know, where did you grow up at here in Denver?
Well, I'm from Park Hill, went to Denver East, as you say.
East Angels.
And graduated in 94. Like you say, I played football, basketball, and track. Love basketball. There's a basketball court. I'm probably going to try to get on it.
Okay.
And I thought that maybe that was going to go ahead and be the sport that I was going to do. It's funny. I figured football was probably going to be the way to go. I thought I was going to probably have more opportunities with football. At that particular time, nobody could catch me or hold me. So I said, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and stop trying to compete with Chauncey Billups and stuff like that, because he's on a whole nother level.
Yep.
I said, let me go jump on this football field. So that's where it all kind of started.
So interesting you bring that up with basketball. If I'm understanding, I heard you could run like a 4.40. Is that true?
Well, yeah, that's the 4.4. Well, you know, it's so funny. On pro day, they came out, and I think that's what kind of helped me out to get me going to the doors of the league. But speaking of 4.32, I ran a 4.32 that day, and I think that's what really.
Oh wow,
that's what helped me out.
When you were at East, you said something earlier about opportunities and so forth didn't come about like you thought they would. Can you elaborate a little bit more in regards to that? Because you finished up 4 years, you're done with East. You're thinking you're going to play college football.
Yeah. So, you know, I at that particular time, I'm looking at my best opportunity. There were schools that wanted me, but I wanted to go to obviously a bigger D1 school and everything else. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to a JUCO. So I went out to California. I was in Lancaster, California. I'm figuring I'm gonna go to there's a JUCO out there called Antelope Valley. Well, that was not the school to go to. So I moved back home for a little bit, just for a semester, and I went to CCD downtown, and got my grades up real quick, and then transferred to Colorado State.
I want to stop you there for a second because a lot of people they're not honest and upfront. So I want you to say you got your grades up. What does that mean?
That means that I didn't do what I needed to do. Coming out of high school, so I needed to jump on it. And I love football so much that, you know, I had to go ahead and do what I had to do. And sometimes that's what it takes. You know, you just got to be honest with yourself. You got to say, you got to get after it. And that's what I.
And I'm not putting you on the spot, but once again, people know my story, and we're of age now that they need to understand that nobody's starting off making 4.0 GPA off the bat, right? And you got to work your way. You got to figure out what's going to allow you to be in the best situation to be able to compete. And it starts off with grades. You got to be eligible. You have to be eligible, right?
That's right.
So I love the fact that you're transparent, you're honest, and you're upfront with that, because there's a lot of people that look at this podcast and they have children. They're going to look at it and they're going to share with their kids, say, look at Mr. Jason Kraft. He didn't have the grades. He had to start here to get to where he's at now. And we're going to get further on as we talk. But so in that moment, you knew you got your grades up, and from there.
Yeah, I got my grades up, and then from there it was like, okay, now I got to get accepted to CSU.
What made you pick CSU?
Well, CSU, obviously, I wanted to stay in state. And then my brother, he was actually going to CSU. And then I had some other people, some family members was going to CSU. I just always liked the Rams for some apparent reason. I just liked the Rams. And that actually that opened the door for me to say, you know what, let me go ahead and go. Let me go with those Rams.
Okay. And then you went with those Rams, but you went with those Rams without a scholarship.
I surely did. I was there. So, so crazy. So when I transferred over, so back in them days, I had to sit out. So when you transfer over, you have to sit out. When I had to sit out that 1 year, and I'm going to be honest again. So I sit out that 1 year. I'm thinking like, dang, that was the first time I've never played a sport. I'm sitting up here just going to the rec, just playing basketball. So what's so crazy is that next year, my grades aren't right. Didn't do what I needed to do. I done messed up again. Wow, I done jacked up again. I'm like, oh man, they almost kicked me out of Colorado State. I just got in. I done did everything I needed to do, and they almost kicked me out. But once again, I'm just one of them type of people. I'm sitting up. It ain't gonna happen to me. You got to give it. And I gave it my all. And I said, these grades, I've got to get these grades. I got to do what I got to do because I got to get back on that field. And that's what I did that second year, got my stuff up. And so that third year.
So basically you sat out 1 year. The second year, you were pretty much, you weren't playing or were you playing? One playing. So you were there for 2 years and had not played.
2 years. Wow. No sports at all. Just wrecked.
That is straight up dedication, man. That's a drive like no other.
Oh yeah. Sitting out. That frustrating. Definitely frustrating. But you gotta have that desire and determination and dedication. And I believe that's one thing I did have. And going into that was that 97.
Okay.
I was like, man, I got to walk on, and because I've been out of football, so now you got to walk on. Now you're just kind of just this, you're just this guy.
So here's the deal. I want the audience to understand when you say walk on. I think they need to understand what a true walk on in football is. Can you elaborate? Explain to them.
A walk on is a guy that's basically you come on knowing a lot of times you're probably not going to make the team. A lot of times even if you do make the team, you're probably going to be like just a scout guy, like somebody that, they're really not going to care because they got the guys that they gave scholarship. They got all these guys they got to go ahead and take care of. And
it makes the coach look bad if you end up getting a scout team guy that beats somebody that he actually recruited to bring on as a scholarship player.
That is right. So that right there, and what you just said even gave me motivation because all of those guys that were there were the same guys they picked in front of me. Now, when I was coming out of the East, I was one of the top players coming out of the state at that particular time. But, Colorado State, CSU, they're getting all Cali guys, all Texas, that's just how it was. It made it hard. But you know what? It actually gave me a push. And, I had a little chip on my shoulder and I said, he's here. I looked at every single one of them. I said, I'm taking somebody's spot.
And some of those cats were probably like sophomores, freshmen when you were a senior in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So you had one year left technically to prove yourself, right? You had 1 year left of eligibility?
I had 2 years.
Okay.
2 years. Yep. I had 2 years of eligibility left, that 97 year. So the 97 year is, like I said, I was a walk-on. I ain't gonna lie, I was on the sideline popping sunflower seeds, but wasn't doing too much. At all. I probably got in a couple of games, very frustrated, very, very frustrated. Did I feel like I can go out there and play? Yes, I did. But like, it said, they got guys, they gave scholarships, all these promises to, and those guys are going to be out there first. So I had to sit there and just, wait, patiently wait. So going into the spring after that, and now we were very successful that 97. Yep. We won the Holiday, but I mean, we were ranked. We were ranked like 13. Wow. We were off chain that year. So that kind of helped out too. It was some motivation going there too, because I definitely said, I got to get on that field, So after that 97 year, going into that spring of 98, that's where a lot of things kind of start kicking in. I only got 1 year left. Got a son now. I got a son.
Please elaborate on that just a little bit. So you had already had a son. So prior to that, and your son was what, 6 months old, 7 months?
Yep, he was born in 97.
Okay.
Yeah, August.
Okay.
That's in 97. So that right there itself was one of those, man, I was up there trying to go to school, pay for school. I was trying to work.
Yeah, tell them about that. You had 2 jobs. What were they, like Sears and UPS, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, yeah. I UPS. I did the, I'd worked at McDonald's before. I've done helmet buffing. I've done various jobs. But that year was definitely tough just because, you know, you're in college. You know, you're saying this is my last year. I got to go ahead and provide, you know, for a family. But I'm up here still trying to play football. I got to go to these meetings. I mean, that was a definitely tough year. But you know, it brought it all.
Yep, perseverance.
Yeah. I definitely stayed into it. And I just gave it my all going into spring for that camp. And I was just going to do what I had to do to where the coaches were going to have to say.
And why is that? Can I ask you a question? Because I want the audience to understand what you had on your plate. You could have easily had given up.
Oh, yeah.
You could have easily said, you know what, I'm just going to say I played college football at CSU. You wanted to not only start, you had a dream of still making it to the NFL. How did you even have that mindset with what you were going through at that point in your life?
You know, we talk about that desire. And my dad, you know, I give him so much credit. Rest in peace, Pops. But he's always just taught me, you know, you're only here once.
Mm-hmm.
You're only here once, and you got to give it your all. You know, he tells me all the time, there ain't no coming back.
Yep.
There ain't no coming back, so you better give it your all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to do what you got to do now, and don't get to trying to regret, you know, later on. You know, so that was one of those things. I just said, you know, I got to do what I got to do now because this is my last year. Son, that was obviously motivation too. And it was just, it was just, yeah, it was a variety of things of just, I've always been that athlete that I just never gave up.
Okay.
Just never gave up.
So that season going in that, yes. And resilience, yeah. I preach that.
Hey, yeah.
You know, being resilient, persistent, and of course, humble. That's for me.
Right.
So spring, going into your senior year, I know spring ball, but
spring ball, you know, it's like I'm last on the depth chart, and last on the depth chart. You know, once again, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I got 5 guys in front of me. Actually, it might have been 6 because we had 3 guys on each side, and I was like that 7.
Wow.
And I'm sitting up here like, okay, how am I going to do this? These guys got scholarships, but you know, here we go. We're going to give it. We're going to give it. And I remember a coach a little bit, which some people probably know Sonny Lou.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing coach, man.
Amazing coach. He talked a lot of you know what.
To motivate you, or you took it as motivation?
I took it as motivation.
Yep.
And sometimes I was like, man, does he want me to quit? Like, you know, like, because that's sometimes that's what they really want. You to do.
Absolutely.
They were like, man, can we just, but I made it to where, you know what? Okay, he's going to keep talking. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put all them words, put that in that backpack, and I'm going to carry it. I'm going to carry it. And he doesn't realize that, yeah, that was a lot of motivation because he did a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talking. Yeah, do you want to be here? I remember his voice. Do you want to be here? Do you want to be? What are you talking about, man? I'm sitting here. I'm sitting there getting hit like a dummy bag. What are you talking about? What was going on? But I did what I had to do. Moved up on that depth chart, and it's funny because going into maybe it was like that second week before we play Michigan State. I remember they called me up to the office. Mm-hmm. Now, at this particular time, I don't even know if I'm starting or not because they didn't really tell me. They were just kind of letting me get some reps with the ones and everything else. I'm like, man, so what are they going to do? I'm the one balling here. I'm like, dang, but I don't have no scholarship.
You still don't have no scholarship?
No, I don't have no scholarship yet. I don't have a scholarship yet. So this is like, wow, 2 weeks before that first game, I remember he called me to the office and they just felt like I did what I had to do and they had to start.
Well, and they had to give you a scholarship. What walk on to start?
Yeah, so hey, you talking about a whole bunch of relief. Wow. Oh man, when he said, well, we're going to go ahead and give you a scholarship and you're going to be starting. And man, that took a lot. That took a lot that off of me big time. I was so thankful. I was grateful.
I can only imagine how your dad felt.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And hard work. And you say something, Jason. I think we all, as people in life, go through trials and tribulations, right? And we have to decide, are we going to give up or are we going to push through? And I hate to say it, a lot of people give up. A lot of people don't push through. As you finish your senior year, the draft, you're getting ready for combine, getting yourself.
I ran 4.4 at the combine, but 4.32 at the pro day, which, I mean.
Ain't too many cats running 4.4, let alone 4.32. Wow.
Yeah, so I think those are big time helpers. Definitely, yeah. So I go in that senior year, and I start, I ball out. Like I say, our first game was against Michigan State. I remember Plexico Burris.
Oh yeah,
and it's crazy. I didn't even really know who he was. I just said, "Who is this tall giant?" So who is this giant that I'm about to play against? But I balled out against him. I think that helped me out. Mm-hmm. And then it was just after that, it was who was the best receiver.
It put you on the best receiver.
Who was the best receiver every game? Which one? That's who I got.
So you went from 6 on the depth chart to being the number 1 corner. The CSU.
That's it. Credit to this guy too, Deion Sanders. Because that's who I used to watch, and I used to, want to mimic. And I remember how he used to say, I got him. I got him. Mm-hmm. So I would see him even when he was at Florida State and everything. I used to watch him, and man, he was a baller. Mm-hmm. So,
and he was a pretty good basketball player and a trunk runner. So you look at you guys, say,
all that. And he got the little chicken legs. Got the chicken legs.
Hey, wait, I do too, brother. I just want to say, I do too.
Oh no, people don't understand about chicken legs.
I know, man. That's a whole nother podcast. We could just talk about chicken legs. Straight up. We ain't talking about eating no chicken legs. We talking about chicken legs. But good one, Jay.
No, but anyway, I did what I had to do. Did my pro day, did the combine, did good with all of that. Now, still at that particular time, I'm like, it's far. I'm like, I think 1 year, I'm like, man, there's no way I'm probably going to get drafted or anything like that. I might have a chance of maybe getting free agent or something like that. And when coaches start coming in more and more from the NFL teams and scouts and everything else, and I'm sitting up here like, wow. We still had a good team because, we had Joey Porter, we had Clark Hagens, we had some guys.
Yes, you did.
Damon Washington. We had some really good athletes that was coming out of Colorado State, which also helped out too. But it was surprising to me that they, some of them wanted to talk to me. I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I was glad I was able to start this year and play.
Exactly.
Man, now I'm talking to NFL coaches and scouts. So I was very happy with that situation. Didn't know how it was going to turn out. And even going into pro day, but the draft, definitely exciting day because I sat in the house with, a few family members.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to get drafted or not. I had no clue.
And I heard too that you said Jacksonville wasn't even on the radar. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm jumping ahead, but I'll let Mr. Jason explain. He got drafted by Jacksonville Jaguars, 5th round draft pick. And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. Jacksonville never said anything to me. It was one of the teams. There was a few teams that didn't say anything. Definitely. I didn't know too much about Jacksonville at all. Remember, they had only been, I think, in the league for about 3 years. During that.
I just know Mark Brunell was the quarterback, right?
Lefty and I get this phone call and I'm like, wow, who is this? It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I remember how Tom Coughlin calls me up and was like, you ready to be a Jaguar?
Wow.
And you're ready to be a Jaguars. And
the history on Coughlin, that he was a hard coach, right? And then you look at Sonny, how you were saying Sonny would be like, okay, you want to play here? You don't. Here's the door. So it was almost like you were kind of built for him, like if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No, definitely. You're right. It's actually preparing you for the next situation. Yeah. And that's exactly what it did. It built me to be a stronger player, to be able to deal with, person coaches and all that type of stuff. And coaches don't understand how important it is, coaching the right way. And then, being there for that player and kind of, somewhat being hard on them, but then, just understand, because every player is different too. Every player is different. But Sonny Lubick, he had a certain personality. Well, you get to Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin is, he's a military guy.
Yep.
He's a military guy. And I didn't know at that particular time. I'm thinking, you go to the NFL, it was going to be fun. I thought it was going to be like, oh, I'm getting the NFL. It's going to be, we ain't going to really have to do too much. Play on Sundays. That's what I thought. I thought that's what, Sundays and NFL was. Well, oh man, he reminded us real fast. No, this is business. This is business. You find out real fast that it's business. I'm so grateful that I had a coach like Tom Coughlin, and I seen him about some months. I seen him about 8 months ago, and I told him I was grateful of him just because he was a hard coach. He was definitely a hard coach, but it taught me so much, and I'm so glad that I was able to have him as a coach rather than having some other coach that really kind of just didn't care what players did and just let players do whatever they wanted to do. Because, every team you hear about certain things going on and all that. And it was there. Oh, man, he was, you straight and narrow. I remember I got fined.
Undisclosed amount of money.
No, I tell people the money all the time. It's something crazy. Like, I was 5 minutes early to the meet. He decided to start the meeting. When he says he starts the meeting, that's when the meeting starts. Kid you not, that's just how he is. Like, if he starts at 10 minutes, like when he started the meeting, he started the meeting. So this particular, and so crazy is usually I'm 10 minutes early. Yeah. Usually I'm one of the first ones up in there. And this day I just happened to be, oh man, I'm a little bit, I guess I'm a little bit late. Meeting they can't start yet. Yeah. I get there 5 minutes early. The doors are shut. I walk in there. Tom Coughlin just looks at me. It's in front of everybody. That's going to cost you. Oh, it didn't cost me. It cost me for being 5 minutes early. Found me $10,000 for being 5 minutes early to his meeting. Like it was just unbelievable.
And you did thank him, by the way, 8 months ago. Okay,
I did thank.
Yes, I'm just saying. But so going into your rookie year, I know you didn't start right away. You built that up. What year did you finally feel like felt like you were there, like you were meant to be there? Don't get me wrong, you probably felt like you should have started your rookie year too. So no disrespect. I know how pro athletes think. Once you're on the field, you should be starting, period. But can you elaborate a little bit?
So, going into my rookie year, I would say that in NFL, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of learning and everything else. I didn't really, that first year was very, very frustrating. I was just happy that I was able to make the team because we had some good corners. We had Deion Figgs. We had Weasley. We had Dave Tom. I mean, we had some good veteran corners, and then they had some younger guys too. So, I'm just fifth round draft pick. And then they drafted a defensive back first round that year too, which was Fernando Bryant, which me and him became good friends because we were the only DBs to make it. But I had a lot of learning to do. But one thing I did know, and I kept hearing was, well, if you're going to make a team, sometimes you got to go ahead and say, I got to play these special teams.
And that's what you did.
And that's what I said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get on the field as far as defense, maybe dime package or something like that or whatever. But I said, you know what? This special teams, that gutter, I'm going to be the first one down there. And that kickoff, I'm going to be the first one down there. People don't realize how important it is. So I tell boys all the time.
Terrell Davis, prime example. Terrell Davis, special teams, right? I remember when he made that tackle. I want to say it was Seattle. I can't remember. But next thing you know, he's in the Hall of Fame. So you're absolutely right. Yeah. I want to speed up here a little bit because, we could talk forever. So I'm not going to speed up too fast, Jay, because I love this story, man. But this is really good. It's really good. Really good. So this is the crazy thing. Me and you were talking before we got on air, right? How you were with Jacksonville, and I want to say going into your third year, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong. You're a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
This Saints offered you, right? and Jacksonville matched that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then, so you stayed at Jacksonville, but then they brought in a new coach. Del Rio was the coach. And of course, like you said, they want to bring in their own crew, some of their own players.
That's right.
And then eventually you got traded to New Orleans Saints, right? And this is when I'm about to make him smile just a little bit, but this is when you became a multimillionaire, I heard. 3 year, $3.6 million contract, right? I'm just saying.
That was when I was like, you see something, is that real? I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those type of people that's just like, and maybe it's going to happen. Maybe it's going to happen. If I keep working hard. But when it did happen, it happened. And when you sign at that dotted line, you're like, it's real.
Yeah. It's totally real, man. I think the signing bonus is 1.2, but we won't go there right now, man. That money has tripled since that time. But I read on you, baby. I read on you. I'm just saying. I tried to make him smile just a little bit. Here's the crazy thing is I'm looking at some of the players you played with, man, in the league. Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. You played with Kurt Warner. I know that was your last year with the Rams. Keenan McCardell, Jimmy Smith, Reggie Bush, Deion Figures. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. Out of those players that you played with, what was the one thing, the common denominator you felt like everybody had, including yourself, being in the league? What's the one thing that just gave them that drive to make them excel beyond maybe what they even thought they could be?
I would say where most players, you have to really know how to let things go. You got to know how to let things go. And that's talking about friends. That's talking about sometimes with family. Mm-hmm. Even talking about sometimes with relationships. You got to learn how to let things go. So for me, I was blessed to actually get with a veteran group that they were mature and all of them was doing well. I didn't get into a situation where it was a younger group.
And when you say doing well, what do you mean by doing well?
Meaning every single one of them had been in the league for a while. They had families. They were taking care of business. And they were showing up to business. Mm-hmm. So that was teaching me also that, hey, this is how you got to go ahead and be when you're in the league. This is how you got to be. This is just point blank simple. This is not a game, even though it's called a game. Uh-huh. It's business. It's really it's a hardcore business, and the teams, the organizations, they got to take care of themselves.
Absolutely,
and they're gonna look after themselves, and you have to learn that. And sometimes the only way of learning that is sometimes of being around the right people.
Got it.
Well, I would say that all of those guys you just mentioned, that's what they had. And I was blessed to be around that. And I pay attention. I pay attention to a lot of stuff, man. Everybody knows me. I'm one of them type of people sometimes. I just sit back and I pay attention. I'm a very detailed type of person with all kind of things. And I think those are the things that you need to actually make it. It's that attention to detail. I tell players that all the time. That attention to detail is very important.
And if you guys don't know, I met Jason through his nephew, Donovan Allen, who I just did a story on. It's still airing. And Donovan, fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, man. And we'll talk more about Donovan a little bit later. This is about you right now, Jay. As you finish your career, and it was winding down, like I said, the last time you were with the Rams, you actually had a decent year in your last year.
No, that's what's so crazy. I had one of my best years, my last year. Crazy. It was, that sacks, interception. I mean, just that was and I was like one of the oldest guys on that team. But that was one of those things too, is that I'm just going to give it my all. That's just how it was for me. I felt like they say every week is a job in NFL. And I literally took that all the way from year 1 to year 10. I treated it as every week was a job interview.
Got it.
How do you, it's hard. How do you keep yourself motivated like that? But, you train yourself, and if you train yourself well, and other guys being around you, it becomes contagious. And that's just, you just work hard. That's what it is.
Well, this is a podcast called Legacy Building, right? So we want to dive into after your NFL career, kind of let everybody know what you've been doing since your NFL career. How have your investments gone? What have you invested in? And what piece of advice would you give to this next generation coming up?
Well, after I finish, you got to figure out something.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out something, how you going to keep making money. Otherwise, the money is going to go somewhere. But so I had my monies. Obviously, I had it in stocks and bonds and stuff like that. And I said, well, I want to tap into something a little different. I said, you know what? I'm thinking about some real estate, which I never did. And I decided to jump into the real estate a situation where right around after that 2008, 2009,
when the market was crazy too.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. And I just decided, and I caught it on the kind of the back end at 2010.
Okay.
So I decided to just actually purchase some houses and some apartment buildings at that particular time. Now I didn't really kind of know what I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And everything obviously at that particular time was a great price. Great price still at that particular time. And that right there, I'm so glad that I made, and sometimes you just got to make moves. Sometimes you got to just go ahead and take that step. And I'm so glad that I made those moves at that particular time. Definitely helped me out. And I'm still learning even to this day about, real estate and how things, just things, how things maneuver over time and how things change and everything else. And it's so crazy because I just purchased a gas station.
The one in Florida, are you talking to me about? Yes, sir.
Versus a gas station, and I'm sitting up here like, I would have never in my deepest mind would have thought I would have purchased it again. But you like you say, sometimes you got to jump into some areas and try to keep that money going. So I'm just trying to be like you, man.
What a shot, man. You got me now, Jay. I don't have no gas station, man, in another state. I'm just saying, man. But you do like the humidity because you did play for Jacksonville, so I get it, man. No, that's incredible. And I mean that sincerely because you hear these stories about the NFL players, NBA players, that they're, after X amount of years, they're broke, they don't have any money. And you made it a point, and what I'm trying to get at here is I'm a lot like you. I didn't have an amazing GPA. I didn't have really no mentors around me growing up, but I used to always ask a lot of questions. I try to surround myself with people that were smarter than me, that had a lot more going on than me, and then I kind of built up around them. And then all of a sudden now they're looking up to me, they're looking up to you and say, Jason, what do I want to do? I want to get in this, right? And you're able to do that. And I love your being humble because you even said, Arthur, I'm still learning this game. You know what I'm saying? I still got a lot to learn. I think in closing for me, I wanted to build it up from a walk-on to an all-conference player in high school to working 2 jobs, raising a newborn, to not knowing if you're going to even, what are you going to do when you graduate from college, to basically playing in the NFL for 10 years, managing your money, being smart behind it. And then most importantly, I tell people all the time, once you start making money, there's a certain lifestyle that you like and you're used to, right? I mean, I look at your jimmies, I look at your hat, your glasses. I know you like a certain lifestyle. So you made sure you want to go miss out on that lifestyle moving forward. I'm just laughing at you, brother. I had to make you laugh. But you get to enjoy what you've built is what you've built is yours, right? And now you can pass it down to your kids.
That's right.
And the last thing, man, your daughter, his daughter and my daughter ran track together. So this 4.32 speed, his daughter was good in track as a freshman, and she switched over to lacrosse. Give her a shout out, man. What college she go to?
Sanaya. Her name is Sanaya Craft. She's went to Grandview. Actually went to Grandview High School with your daughter. They good teammates. Played basketball together. All that. And she goes to Delaware State. She plays lacrosse. She's a very good lacrosse player. So,
you had an older son who was a beast in football too as well. You probably have some other kids who are doing this.
And it's Javier Craft. Shout out to you. He did his thing. He was All-American, all Colorado. He was, the best corner coming out of Colorado, with Kansas State, and went to a few other schools after that.
And one thing I want to add, not to cut you off, and you just told me this, I think yesterday. I think you say he's 26.
He's 26.
26 years old, went to college, played football. And guys, please understand this. He was trying to figure out life, for the next 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, right? And what Jason told me yesterday blew me away, because I think if more young people not even do this, but if they put themselves in a situation and say, you know what, Dad, I'm not saying I've been messing around, but I need to get my life together. I need to focus. I need to have some type of stability. So please let everybody know what your son is about to do.
Yeah, so he's about to make the jump. He's actually going to the Army, and I'm very proud of him because most guys at the particular ages, they're not looking at no military. No way. Even going to go ahead and they're going to say, you know what, I'm gonna go out here and get out in these streets.
Yep.
I'll figure something out. So I'm very proud of him because that's dedication. That now you signed a contract. You got to get after it. He's going to be doing the little cyber communications. I love that. So I'm very proud of him. Not giving up. And that's one thing I try to teach my kids. Whatever you're going to do, be the best at it. Whatever you're going to do, be the best at it. And if you're going to give it a shot, then, give it your all.
But like you said, what your dad said is you never want to have any regrets. You want to lose everything on the field, court, wherever. But when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you can say, you know what, I tried it, it didn't work out, as opposed to like, dang, I wish I would have tried it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Brother, thank you. It's a pleasure. We hanging out more in space. I want to go check out your gas station in Tallahassee. Is it Tallahassee?
Tallahassee.
See, I got a good memory, brother. You told me to say you must go. I remember that. Jason, it was a pleasure. Thank you guys again for listening to my podcast, Legacy Building. We'll come back next month, maybe the month after. Actually, it'll be next month, guys. I'm just pulling your leg. Thank you guys again for listening. God bless.
Yes, sir.